This is the nutrition plan that I use to go from 175 pounds skinny to 190 pounds lean and in the best shape I've ever been in. Today, we are talking about nutrition. I'm going to give you a structure on how you can fully build out a full nutrition plan, a full meal plan for you to get the physique you've always wanted. Today we'll be going through my 6-step nutrition plan that will take you from whatever you're at right now to the position that you want to be at. With that being said, let's stop wasting any more time and let's jump right into it with step 1. Okay, so step 1 is calculating our maintenance calories while also being able to calculate our surplus and or our deficit based on the results that we want to get. So the first step is really simple, calculating your maintenance calories. What you want to do is you want to go to TDEE calculator, just look that up on Google. The first one that comes up on calculator.net is going to be the best one for you to use. You're going to put in your age, your height, your weight, and your activity level, and it will give you your maintenance calories. So for example purposes, I'm going to use 2,900 as my sample maintenance calories. Now, using this number, we are going to create a calorie surplus. Now, if you were to create a calorie deficit, it would just be the exact opposite of what I'm doing here. So for a calorie surplus, we're gonna wanna sit in 200 to 300 plus of our maintenance. So we're gonna add 300 here, and we're gonna get 3,200 calories. This is going to be our golden number for our caloric surplus to gain lean muscle mass. Now, step 2 becomes calculating your macronutrients. So based off of this 3,200 number, we want to calculate how much protein, how much fat, and how many carbs we should be eating per day. So the number that we're going to start with is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. This is our golden number right here for protein. And when it comes to protein, for me, I'm 187 pounds. So for example purposes, we're going to use 187 grams. As for our second calculation, we're going to utilize fat. When we're doing fat, we want to be either 0.3 grams to 0.5 grams per pound of body weight. This is going to be our fat ratio. Typically, I go on the higher end because I know I need a little more fat just to make sure that my testosterone is staying up where I want it to be. Anything under 0.35, I find in a lot of people will tend to drop their testosterone, which is not what we want to do. We need enough fat in our diet. We can't completely cut fat out of our diet at all. So staying around that 0.35 to 0.45 is probably ideal for most people. For me, I go on the upper end. Especially because I'm in a lean bulk. So I'm going to stay at the 0.5. Now this calculation comes out to 93.5 grams of fat. So those are 2 super easy calculations, but now we have to calculate our carbs. To calculate our carbs, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to take both of those numbers, the 187 and the 93.5, and we're going to want to get the calorie amounts. So 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories. So we're going to multiply 187 by 4, and that's going to give us 740 calories here. Then fats equals 9 calories, and this is going to equal to 841.5. Now, we're going to add these two together, and that's going to give us the amount of calories that we already are using throughout our day. And that number is going to come out to 1581.5 calories already used throughout our day. So in order to get our carbs now, we're going to take this big number that we're using for our daily calorie count, and we're going to subtract it from 1581.5. That number is going to come out to 1610.5 calories, and that's how many calories we're going to be allotted for carbs. Now, in order to get the amount of grams that we're going to need for this, carbs also equal 4 calories per gram. So we're going to divide 1610.5 by 4. And this is going to give us about 403 calories. So after all that calculation, our total macronutrients come out to be 3,200 calories with 187 grams of protein, 93.5 grams of fat, and about 403 grams of carbs. These are the numbers that you're going to be putting into whatever app you are tracking with. Now, step 3 becomes calculating the amount of calories and the macros that we should eat per each meal. So the way that I like to structure it is I like to have 4 meals throughout my entire day. These meals consist of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so our 3 main meals. And then I have one snack, which is a pre-workout snack right here. So what I like to do is I like to start by calculating my pre-workout snack. My pre-workout snack consists of a cup of oatmeal with 3 rice cakes. This comes out to 405 calories. Now, with that 405 calories, I then subtract that from 3,200 to then see what I'm allotted for the rest of my meals throughout the day. So this is going to leave me with just about 2,795 calories left on my day. So then for the other 3 meals, typically what I like to do is I like to make my dinner 150 to 200 calories more because I can typically eat more at dinner. It's going to vary depending on how much you eat during the day. If you find you eat more during breakfast, make breakfast the biggest meal of your day. It really depends on you. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to divide 2795 divided by 3, and that's going to give me 931.7. I'm just going to round it up to 932 to make it a really easy number for us to work with. So then what I'm going to do for dinner is I'm going to add 150 calories to that, which is going to give me 1082. So now that I have dinner in place, I'm going to take the 2795 and I'm going to subtract that from 1082 to get my other 2 meals and then divide that by 2. So that gives me 1713, and divide that by 2, it gives me 856.5 calories for my breakfast and my lunch. So all in all, we end up getting a breakfast of 856.5 calories, a lunch of 856.5 calories, and then a dinner of 1082. And then we're going to also add back on that pre-workout snack that we had of 405 calories there. That gives us a total of our 3,200 calories. So then once you have your calories calculated, you're going to need to determine your macros. And this is going to be really easily done if you just do it with AI. There is no point of calculating it on your own. That could take hours to do just by yourself, making sure that everything is perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to prompt AI properly. You're going to put into it the amount of meals that you're having per day. In this case, it's 4. We're going to put in the calories that we're going to have per meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and pre-workout, as well as our total calories. Then you're going to input your total macros throughout the day. And then finally, we're going to put in any preferences that you may have. This means for your pre-workout meal, you may want more carbs. For example, the reason why it's oatmeal and 3 rice cakes for me is because I want more carbs before my workout to give me that long-lasting energy during my workouts. Then for dinner, you may want significantly more protein before you go to bed to make sure that muscle recovery is optimal. It really depends on what you want to do and making sure that you hit your macros. But at the end of the day, it's not going to matter as long as you hit your macros and you are getting your total calorie count. Now, the 4th step is figuring out the meals that you can prepare during the week to make sure that you're going to get your proper calorie counts and you're going to get your proper macro counts throughout the week. The best way to do this is, again, asking AI and asking it, how can I get specific meals to fill the macro counts per each meal that you just gave me? You want to make sure they're easy to prepare so that way you can prepare them on the Sunday before each week and making sure that throughout the week you are staying consistent with your meals. And finally, that leads me to the most important step of this whole entire process. Consistency. Making sure that day in and day out, you stay consistent. You stay true to your meals. You make sure you're working out, and you make sure that you are going to be able to do all the things that you have laid out for yourself. This is only a structure. I can only give you a structure, but I cannot help you with consistency. And look, you're gonna miss days. There's gonna be days where it's difficult and you just don't have it in you, but you have to push through that. The days that you don't make it 2 days in a row, because the second you make it a consistent thing to not succeed is the second that you're going to fail and the second that you're going to give up. So if you fail one day, no, it's not over. That's just one day. Just don't allow it to become routine. Instead, what we want to become routine is consistently eating what we need to eat, consistently getting our macros in, consistently hitting our calorie mark. At the end of the day, it's not going to be easy. It's incredibly simple. Everything I just laid out for you, you can go do on your own and create a structure for yourself. But in reality, it's so much more difficult than it really looks. Like I said, you can make all that structure, but if you don't follow it consistently, you are not going to be successful in this process. But with that said, that is my complete guide on creating yourself a full nutrition plan. This is from step A to step Z, making sure that you have everything you could possibly need in order to be successful in your nutrition, in the gym, and getting the physique you could ever want. God bless and good luck.